So I'm off out on this steamboat today. They're just powering up the, not even engines, I don't know, feeding the fire. You know, I'm not the greatest at these things. So we'll get someone to show us around, give us a little talk about the boat shortly. But it looks fantastic. And it smells brilliant.
Safety might get pretty close to popping here. Yeah. Machine, because it allows me to experience life like it was about 1910, 1920, when this was the spaceship of its day. It was the most advanced piece of technology out there, and it's a heck of a lot of fun. So the boat was put together by my friend Steve Harcourt over the course of about 13 years. I'm one of the engineers on the boat that makes it go. It's like a ship. You can't control the engine and the boiler from the wheel. So he has a telegraph like you see in the old movies, and he rings down to the engineering person to tell them what he wants them to do. Speed up, slow down, go astern, go forward. And that's what the engineer does. He runs all that stuff. So the boat has a engine built in about 1909 in Canada. It's a Doty 2-cylinder compound steam engine. And what that means is it uses the steam twice. So it has a high pressure piston and a low pressure piston. And so when the steam gets used in the high pressure piston, it goes into the low pressure piston and gets used again. So it's used twice, which is more economical.
So obviously when you're running like a diesel boat or something, and you do like your fuel consumption, how do you work out how much like wood you need to bring for how far you're going?
So we have a number of different options as far as fueling goes. Basically anything that burns can be used as fuel. So for example, today we're running on wood. So we're firing with wood fire. So it's just like, you know, your stove at home to heat your house, except on a bit bigger scale, to boil water and make steam to drive the boat. Everything on the boat except for the depth sounder, the radio, and the running lights is all steam. So it's definitely, like as I said, a time machine into what marine engineering was like, 100 years ago.
So have you ever been out on it and ran out of stuff to burn, and then had to burn random stuff to get you back?
We did have one instance where we were good Samaritans and we towed a broken down boat with a couple of families on it in the middle of summer when it was 112 degrees. Back to where they needed to go, and in the process on our way back we ran out of fuel and had to spend the night on the boat till the next day till we could get some more fuel to get back.
So you weren't tempted to like start burning furniture?
So by the time we got to where there was any place where we could get fuel, every place was closed. So yeah, we just spent the night on the boat and got back the next day. So the old saying, no good turn goes unpunished. Well,
yeah,
that's what happened. We helped them out, and then unfortunately we ended up getting stuck. But
at least you had a good fun night away. Probably
it makes for an interesting story now.
Definitely.
The valves when they all had.
You can tell these Americans are crazy when they let me drive the boat. Where am I going?
Yeah, I'm gonna go take a nap.
I feel like this is too much responsibility for me.
You gotta get used to it.
Where am I going now?
This is what you're gonna be doing from. You're gonna go straight over there, more towards the palm trees.
We're looking at
Now you're gonna head that direction. It's getting warm.
The Windermere tea kettle, copied from the Windermere boats. Works beautifully. Boil a gallon of water in about 30 seconds. But you have to tell the engineer to turn the steam on for the. But then I have a. Here's how you turn it off. The reach rod to the top of the boiler. I've got a coil on the top here. It's hot, so I have to lift it up. If you raise your camera, look down inside, see the coil inside here? Ouch.
Oh yeah.
So the steam goes in the coil, and then the exhaust steam goes into the hot well, so it helps warm the water up in the hot well.
Fantastic.
Anywhere you'd like.
Thank you.
Really well done.
Simultaneously, you want to pull this. That's the steam for the burner, and this is the fuel. So shut it, turn it down, shut it off, and pull that towards you. Both at the same time.
What happens if I don't do it at the same time?
Because you put out a bit too much smoke if you let one run more than the other.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So 3, 2, 1. Perfect. So that stopped it right before the safety valve went off.
Oh.
We've got steam cylinder oil, or we call it stroking the limbs of the dragon. And so we have the valve rods and the piston rods, and we have a really thick mixture of oil and graphite here.
Okay.
And you just swab it on the piston rods here in the valve rods. Watch your fingers for moving tips.
Is that enough or?
Yeah, try to get it around the back side here too. Be mindful of things are hot. This one's a really close one. Everything is, the clearances with all the moving parts are really close.
Yeah.
So
Do I need to do this one as well?
Yes.
I might lose a finger.
Good. You add that to your start.
Oh, nearly lost the brush.
The brush is the sacrificial part. That's why all our oil cans have rubber hoses on the end of them, because they've been masked all the bits. Otherwise.
Is that good?
Yep, so this one's easy one.
Cool. Still got all my fingers.
And I have the oil can here. This This one has just regular 140 weight in it. So all the oil cups, and then you see the holes here on top of the dive block there. And stuff.
Right, in there.
And now just in the cup there.
This one,
Yep.
the bronze one?
Yep.
How
So
much?
just pop them up. Yep.
On the one here?
Yep. And then you can see these holes here, the beveled holes there.
Yeah.
If I just put my finger, I'll put some in there as well. Perfect. And that there. So these are the oil lines from the drip feed oiler.
Alright.
These are oil lines, but sometimes we'll just put the oil can right here on and then let it run down. That way you can check to see if it's dripping actually into the cup,
Alright.
and then you're just pre-lubing the bearings are dead as well. So you can see that other oil line there with the wire on the end of it. And then these two are the aluminum blocks, aluminium blocks on either side of the walking beam there. You can see there's beveled holes on the top of those. So those have.
It's so hard when everything's moving.
Yeah.
And the bottom one as well.
I can. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, come here.
And I can slow the engine down a bit here in a few minutes.
Okay, that one's done. Just done. Oh, I missed. Oh.
Sometimes it's just throwing oil at it.
Right, okay. And then this one as well.
Yep.
Any more on?
Now there's that other, you can see the other line, the copper line coming down. It's got a little bit of wire on the end of it.
Yeah, that one.
Yep.
And then the same at the top of these ones.
Yeah.
And then this one.
Yes. Yeah. And then same on the block there with the number 1 on top. And looks like those two cups are full of oil there, but then we come around back here. And now we have the steam looks like it's dropped down to 120 psi.
So we just put more wood in the fire, or?
Yeah, so you can grab some wood from forward there in the bunker. Just a few pieces. We'll use them as a pilot light for the burner. And so we'll put them in there. You'll see a round tube running in there for the burner, but you don't put them in front of that. Just put them off to either side close to it.
Right, okay.
And we'll use them as a pilot light.
I'll let you open it.
Yeah.
With bear me on there. So just to the side.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll use the poker right there, and then move that one
To the
last
side.
one off to the side. Yeah, that should be good. We'll go ahead and close the door, and then we'll start the burner again. So this step, or for this, we'll open the steam first, so push that forward, and then you'll open that red valve down there, which is the fuel.
At the same time again?
And the steam first, and then fuel. Now we're listening for the roar. We can look up to see if there's any smoke out of that lens, or you can poke your head out the side and look up at the stack to see if there's any smoke, and if there is, we would turn the fuel down on the burner a little bit, but if there isn't, then we know it's set well.
Should we go and have a look, see if there's any smoke? No.
It looks like a clean stack, so the burner itself.
So I did a good job.
Yeah, absolutely.
There
Be
we
a
go.
steam engineer yet.
There we go.
Yeah.
Might get a steamboat next. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We're having to go really slow because the depth keeps changing so much. So we're nearly, for the past sort of 10-15 minutes, we've had to sort of detour a little bit. At one point we did get sort of beached a little bit, but I think we're nearly at the main channel now. So we're just going as slow. I'm at the back watching to see if we're kicking up mud. Chris is over at the bow with Keith. So we're all just keeping our eyes out to make sure we don't get stuck. Oh, it looks like it's getting deeper now. Can't see the bottom no more, so that's a good sign.
There's soot in the water tubes. It's a water tube boiler, so the water's inside the tubes, and so the soot builds up on the tubes. And 1/8 of an inch of soot on a tube is equal to an inch of asbestos for cooling, insulation. So you want to blow the soot off the tubes periodically. So that's what we're about to do now. So you have what's called a steam lance. And the steam lance is, you just let live steam through the steel tube, and then you just run it in there and you wash off all the soot, and it comes blowing. You open the stack blower and you open all the, pretty soon you're gonna open the stack blower, and then the soot will come blowing out of it. You got to go a lot of water. You're on high water in the boiler and go real slow because you're going to use a lot of steam. So you keep the engine turning over just slowly enough that you get steerage way. And now he just opened up the stack blower, and there, the stack blower helps eject the soot out of it. Not too dirty, is it? If we haven't run this in a while, I blew it as soon as last time we went out, didn't I? I thought we did. I remember blowing them the time before that. Well, the last time he was heat engineer. The time before that.
And we wood fired.
Yeah, so the time before that. That's what it's good. And that's not too bad. Normally it gets really heavy black. If it's been several days we've been burning oil, then it gets real serious.
That's quite clean today.
Yeah, so today's not bad.
Can I do the horn?
Yeah, I think so.
The horn, what's it called?
Whistle.
Whistle, that's it.
Another whistle.
Ready? Oh, it's better. So I think we need to go faster.
What's that?
Right, I'll let you take over now, and I've got to figure out what it will like.
Yeah, it's gonna get sketchy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't want to get the blame for grounding us out. I'll let Chris do it and then we can blame Chris.
Someone's got to get the blame.
Yeah, so right now,
If we hit the ground, I'll just jump away and you can jump onto the steering wheel.
it's not my fault. So we're at 7.7. Oh look, our draft's only 6 foot and we're at 6.4.
We're coming out. We're coming out.
Oh.
We're coming out. We just need to get closer to the middle of the channel.
So we're at 5.6, Chris. So the draft of this boat is 6 feet. So it's getting a bit sketchy now because we're showing 5 on the fish on the depth finder. Let's go and have a look.
Okay, well, this time of night it's hard to see. So we have a depth finder with a GPS on it, and some of these parts of the river at nighttime you get some really weird shadows. Like if you look over there, you see the reflection of the trees in the water. But at nighttime it looks like you're going right towards a tree, and then all of a sudden the channel will open up. So it's not too bad right now, but it does start to get a little difficult to see. And then with the tide going out, well, actually the tide's coming in now. You can still these little mud bars that you might run into if you're not careful.
Yeah.
I'm Wes, Steve's son. Been around steamboats my entire life, and just helped him build this boat. We've had a few boats. I have a little 22-foot boat of my own, and my dad has another 21-foot boat that there's pictures of my mother pregnant with me on board when back in the 80s. Back when I was about 10 years old, we wanted to build something bigger and could go camping with and go out exploring with, and we finally had an opportunity to ride on a boat named the Burma Queen out in the San Francisco Bay that ended up, it was a Hamburg, Germany Harbor Service launch, or not Harbor Service launch, Harbor Police boat, and it was about 56 feet long. We decided that 56 feet was a bit too large for the two of us, so we decided on 40 feet and kept searching for hulls and engines. We found an engine in the San Francisco Bay Area that was a French engine built in by Claparde in Argenteuil, France, which is near Paris, I guess, back in the 20s, and we decided that wasn't the one we were going to eventually decided we weren't going to use that engine. We found the engine that we have now, which is a Doty compound built in Ontario, Canada, around the turn of the 20th century. It was in a logging tug up near Sudbury, Ontario. Ended up finding the hull in Washington, and that was a log drive tug up in Washington, and then the boiler was one we got from a friend of ours. And that my mom being Canadian and my father being a forester, it only felt right that we had a logging engine, a log tug, and the engine being from Canada. So put it all together. It took about 13 years to do, but just it's fun being out on the water and steaming, and it's quieter than a motorboat, and it's kind of like sailing in a sense where you have to tune things just right to get the optimum performance out of the boat and what you have available to you. And
do you ever feel like you're missing the boating experience because you're stuck down here in the engine room?
Sometimes, yeah.
Do you think like, I want to go see what's outside?
Well, I've found, I can get things tuned just right to where I don't have to touch any valves or anything for a bit, and I can step topside and take a look around and see where we are. And that's part of the fun for me, is finding that balance between everything, the feed water going into the boiler and the burner and how much steam we're making, and so I don't set off the safety valve or the pressure relief valve, and I don't put too much water in the boiler or not enough water in the boiler, and finding that tiny little adjustment. And it's kind of fun for me and satisfying. And I bet you love being down here when the weather's cold. Oh yeah. But you probably hate it in the summer. Yeah, it's hot in the summer. Yeah, when it's 110, 100 degrees outside, it's 110, 120 in here. But in the winter time like today, it's 50 degrees out, but we're nice and toasty. I'm a little sweaty in my long sleeve shirt here today. So should have brought the short sleeve. Yeah, well, thank you so much for letting me oil your engine and stuff. Thank you for coming aboard. It was a pleasure having you. So we've been out on the steamboat all day, and it's been so relaxing and so peaceful. It's been absolutely fantastic, and it was so fun to learn how to do stuff on the engine and oiling it and putting buzz in the fire. So it's been a really, really nice experience. So thank you so much, guys, for letting me come on board. It's been great.